Peace and blessings, ladies and gentlemen. All praises to the Most High. What you just saw there was a demonstration from the summer of last year, 2024, of the Nazi patriot group, white supremacist group, the Patriot Front, marching through downtown Tennessee. And that was part of a series of demonstrations that they did last year in Nashville. Now, you all know about the most recent flash demonstration that they tried to do in Lincoln Heights, Ohio. And shout out to the brothers and sisters out there who, ran them up out the city. But that has sparked more national attention to the presence of these neo-Nazi white supremacist KK groups and their propensity to come into cities where they are not welcome and actually target cities. Most of these groups come from out of state. Now, this article focuses on sort of the right to have free speech. But one thing in this article that I wanted to highlight today is the leaders of Nashville basically admitting that there are law enforcement who are associated with these groups, have ties to these groups, and even are members of these groups. So this article basically says that the House of Nashville, the legislative body, has actually introduced a bill prohibiting the Metro Nashville Police Department from associating with these neo-Nazi groups. And so if they have to admit a bill, it's evidence that they are or have some officers who may be hardcore members of the groups. The article went on to say that these groups, these Patriot Front groups, target members of law enforcement. And the bill also prohibited law enforcement from having any tattoos, memorabilia, from wearing shirts, from posting things that could be considered part of this white nationalism. Now, the fact that they had to introduce a bill lets me know that they know that some of their officers are associated with this group. Now, we all saw what happened in Lincoln Heights, where the police actually escorted the U-Haul full of white supremacists to and from the bridge and actually escorted one back to his vehicle. Now, you can go back and watch those videos. Also, you see the police actually, before they leave, it looks like he is driving the U-Haul. And several police agencies were involved in that. The Evandale Police and the Lockland Police are under fire, which are two villages right next to Lincoln Heights. And if you go back and watch those videos, the police seem none the wiser or very nonchalant about these things happening in their city, which pretty much leads me to believe that they are very much part of this phenomenon. Even one video, and I have to go back and highlight that video, one of the Patriot Front white supremacist members were driving through the Lincoln Heights town at night, about 3 a.m, and they got them on body cam footage, dropping their little pamphlets off. And some of the black brothers who are out patrolling ever since they came up and approached the brother and called the police. And the police when he stopped them, and he took the flag that the people had, the peace flag that the people had on the bridge. He took that from him. When the guy rides off, he says, "All right, I'll see you tomorrow." That's what the police say. "All right, see you tomorrow." Just so, and I don't think he even recognized it. And they didn't do anything to this man. They didn't arrest him. They didn't get him for, hate crime, which is, if you're littering with material that has hate speech on it, now shouldn't that be considered a hate crime? But they let this man go. But what stuck out to me, and I'll go back and highlight this. The police say, "Yeah, I'll see you tomorrow." But because of the behavior that we have seen of the police department, it is evidence that there are a lot of these white supremacist gangs embedded in the police department, which speaks to the police culture. Like, there's been several, high profile cases of white supremacist gangs out in LA who are, very embedded or have infiltrated the police department. So evidently by this article and by this bill introduced to the Nashville state government, they are well aware that members of their police department, members of their police offices are associated, even affiliated, and maybe even hardcore card-carrying members of these organizations. Thus, we see some of the treatments that we have of Black people. These people at that march that you just saw, they was running around with shirts like WAR, and that's Whites Against Replacement. They were actually involved in a few altercations there. I think a Black bartender got beat up by those guys, and they were just causing all sorts of havoc. But then the leadership, which once again allows me to question them too, well, it's a fine line, between hate speech and free speech. We have to learn how to navigate that. Best believe if that was a bunch of Black Power, Black Panther people marching to the streets and, going up and, yelling all types of racist comments. Like, these people were even at the city council meeting over talking the mayor, spewing anti-LGBT, anti-Black, Jewish, they loop all of that into one. But, we all know who gets most of the brunt of the hatred, and that's the Black people. But this article was very telling. That article is from the Tennessean. I'll put that in the chat because it goes on, talking about, all of the differences between, free speech and hate speech. But I just thought the first two paragraphs were all I needed to see, that these people have to introduce a bill to prohibit police officers from associating, joining, having ties to these white supremacist organizations. I'm going to do a whole expose on the Patriot Front, and you'll see how they are actually, they set up their enclave, their headquarters. They're actually building a compound in Tennessee. So Tennessee is rife, and has always been rife with racism and racist groups and hatred towards anybody other than, I guess, white, redneck, hillbilly, backwood, blue bread, inbred, incest, white Americans. But that's a whole nother story for a whole nother time. But y'all let me know what you think in this in the comments. 919-587-7782. Peace and blessings. Thanks for watching.